Welcome to the Traditional Way podcast, brought to you by the Martial Arts Center Network. I am your host, Brett Shumway. The Martial Arts Center Network provides several podcasts and sport karate videos available on all our social media platforms and on our website at www.mainternetwork.com. Please continue to like, share, and comment on our programs and videos. On this episode, I'm going to bring you the results from the 60th European Championships that took place on May 7th through the 11th, where 559 athletes from 52 countries all came to win that Continental Championship. As this is one of the biggest Continental Championships that the WKF has, and it definitely has its divisions that are more highlighted, most notably the female kumite divisions. Europe has more of the top 10 athletes in the female kumite than the other continents, so these were the divisions were the ones to watch, and they did not disappoint. One thing of note was the return of the world number one in the minus 55 kilogram division, Angelica Terluga, who we were all anticipating taking more time off for her maternity, but she did return with only a year off from competing. Unfortunately, her return was short-lived as she lost her first match and wouldn't make it past the second round of the repechage, leaving her with a disappointing 1-2 record on her return. And this might be the only event of the year for her, as she is not registered for the Premier League that's coming up at the end of the year, or at the end of next month, and she will not make the qualifications for the World Championships. With that, let's take a look at the results from how the European Championships played out. The women start out in the minus 50 kilogram division, where world number 3, Emma Scardelli, and world number 8, Ermina Perfetto, had a great matchup in the final, where Scardelli would claim her second European title, winning that matchup 7-5. Perfetto would add another silver to her total, as a gold from these championships still eludes her. The minus 55 kilogram division had its biggest fight in the semifinals, where world number 4, Yvette Goranova, came up short to world number 3, Mia Beich, who would win an exciting 11-8 match. Mia would go on to beat Jennifer Warling in the final by a score of 4-1 to secure her second European title in a row. Some shocking exits in the minus 61 kilogram divisions, as the world number 7, 8, 9, and 10 ranked fighters would all get knocked out before the semifinals. The world number 12, Beta Gervisia, would fight her way to the final, where she would lose to number 11th ranked Oleksandra Sholahova by a score of 2-0. They both secured their first medals at the European Championships. The minus 68 kilogram division had a result that would have a shocking ending if there wasn't more to the story, right? So world number 7, Hannah Rydell, beat world number 2 and 3-time Continental Champion Elena Corsi by Senshu in the semifinals. I will break down this fight later in the show, so stay tuned because there's a lot more to that fight. Number 6 ranked Maria Mejas would make it to the final against her, where Hannah would win the final matchup by a score of 2-1 to secure her first European title. The over 68 kilogram division was the most stacked division, with 7 top 10 ranked athletes present. However, only one of those 7 would see a semifinal. World number 2, Maria Garcia, would lose 7-2 to newcomer to the age category Daria Boulay, who would go on to lose in the final to number 17th ranked Kiraki Kitanaki by a score of 2-0, both securing their first EKF championship medals. Female kata brought a couple of earlier than expected exits, as well as four top 10 ranked athletes present would not see the final. World number 44 ranked Helvetia Tale would showcase her Shotokan katas and make it to her second EKF final in her career, where her performance of Gankaku would lose to first-time European champion Teriana D'Onofrio, whose Chibana no Kunsanku would win by a half points. The female team kata saw Spain and Portugal face off in the final matchup, where Spain's performance of Anand would secure their second consecutive EKF title, as they won the final by 1.1 points. In the team kumite division, it was France and Germany making their way to the final, with each only losing one fight on their way to meet each other, where Germany would retain their gold from last year, winning the final 2 matches to 0. The men started off with a bang, as the world number 2 and 3 would fall in the elimination rounds, leaving number 8 ranked Orgus Arifi to find his way to the final, where he would lose to Ahmed Akhmedov, who dropped down to the minus 60 kilogram weight category for the first time to secure his first European title since he was a cadet. Was not a lot of surprises in the minus 67 kilogram division, as this division does not have a lot of top 10 ranked athletes in Europe. Surprisingly, in this division was number 45 ranked Eric Organisian, making his way to the final where he would lose 2-1 to the number 8th ranked Omer Ozer, who would secure his first Continental title. In the semifinal of the minus 75 kilogram division, number 10 ranked Ernest Sharafutdinov takes out the world number 2 by decision to move up and meet number 24th ranked Nemanja Mikulik in the final, where both fighters would see their first EKF final. In the end, Sharafutdinov would take the gold by a score of 4-0. The minus 84 kilogram division was a little more conventional, as 3 top 10 athletes made it to the semifinals, where world number 5 Valery Chobotar would lose to world number 7 Ivan Kavesic by the 8-point spread to secure Ivan's first EKF title. And to one up the minus division, the over 84 kilogram division saw all top 10 ranked Final Four, where last year's European champion Angelo Kavesic would lose a close matchup to the 2023 champion Mehdi Falali 2-1, as these two have been back and forth at this championships over the years. Now, I love the way men's kata turned out. With Ali Sofoglu and Damian Quintero out, we still saw a Spain versus Turkey final match, where their replacements both faced off against each other in their first EKF championship, with Raul Romero, performance of Chatnaro Kusanku, getting narrowly beat out by the Unsu of Enes Ozdemir by 0.6 points. I expect that this matchup will be seen in the future at this event for some time. Male team kata saw an interesting kata choices in the final match, as Italy and Spain took to the mat, where Italy's Sochin performance came up just short of the Spain's Paiku by 0.3 points to improve from their silver from last year's event. And to end the event, the male team kumite was a very exciting match, as Italy and Croatia would take to the final matchup, and it came down to the last fight. In the end, Italy would retain their title, beating Croatia 3-2. The EKF championships had a lot of surprises. For me, it was the amount of top 10 ranked fighters that lost early. Out of the 10 kumite divisions, 3 top seeds lost their first match, and 2 lost in their elimination rounds. But did that have to do with the judging? So one thing that has the WKF world talking right now was the semifinal match with Elena Quercy. She felt the judging was so poor, it led her to post on Instagram about it and got a lot of other WKF fighters to post responses. So taking a look at her post, she states, "I've never posted anything like this in my entire career, but enough is enough. Today I fought for the semifinal in the European Championships, and not a single point was awarded. We even requested a video review on some of the clear actions. Now, it's not new for an athlete to complain about not getting calls in their favor, but does she have a gripe here? So let's first take a look at what the WKF requirements for a point to be scored are. Their rules state that the technique has to have the potential to be effective if it were not controlled, with the following 6 criteria. Good form, meaning that it's properly executed technique. A sporting attitude, that the technique was delivered without the intent to cause injury. A vigorous application, it was delivered with speed and power. They need to maintain awareness of their opponent throughout the technique. Good timing, meaning that the technique was delivered at the correct moment and correct distance, or delivering the technique at a distance where it could be effective. With that criteria, let's take a look at the 2 points that were scored. First was her opponent's Yuko. Now, this point was scored, and she was awarded the Senshu advantage. Elena also had a Yuko and here's what that looked like. Now, let's take a look at all the techniques that Elena threw that were not considered points. As we look at this mix of Yuko and Ippon attempts, can you see any difference in the 2 points that were scored compared to the ones that weren't? Now, I've watched this match about 15 times now, and I cannot see why they considered the first 2 that were shown and not these. I have to agree with Elena's statement that she doesn't understand what went on. And I'm not the only one. Your Gala Salazar says no words to describe this. Maria Stoli states that this is pure injustice. Anna Nilsson states that she's speechless. Those are just a few of the top fighters that agreed with Elena and had issues with this. And one more thing to add to this is I think it speaks to the type of athlete that Elena is, as she goes on to state in her post that her heart goes out to the athletes she beat en route to the semifinals, as they are now eliminated from the repechage pool due to this fight's outcome. And for me, that is where this post is more than just her feelings. Like, obviously she is so upset that she won't fight for gold, but she does recognize that other fighters in the division are hurt by this as well. All in all, I have to agree with her statement Mistakes can happen, but not at this magnitude, and not at a European Championship semifinal fight. And with that, I want to thank you for watching another episode of The Traditional Way. Please join me on the next episode where I'll bring you the results from both the PKF and the EKF Continental Championships. Until then, continue to support the Martial Arts Internet Network by liking, sharing, and commenting on our podcasts and videos. Until next time, guys.